Okay guys, another little vid for you. Okay, today I am refurbishing or giving a little drink to my lovely worktop I made. Now I made this worktop out of 2 pine tables. So, I mean, bearing in mind my kitchen's tiny. Done tiling as well, like a pan. Nice. Basically you've got to look after your wood, alright? People have these wooden worktops and then they go all black and mouldy, and you can already see it's a bit mouldy there, but that was done when it first went in and it was dry. You've got to look after them, so what we're using is the same as what we used before, and this is Tung Oil, okay, and this is okay to use near food, alright, so it's not a big smelly one either. But this is what I recommend you using. This is what I've always used. You could put it on with a brush and then rub it off with a cloth. And that's how I use it. But this is what you want. Okay. And you can use this where you've got foodstuffs. Alright. Now, I've already done this half. Okay. So what I do is you take your partner's best Nicky Clark hairdryer. And you just give it a wipe down first. And then make sure it's dry with your hairdryer. Okay, then, where I've got the edges, you can already see how much it's soaked in. I literally just poured it out the tin around here, where it will go into that joint. This has also got a Simon silicone. Oh look, I've got a bit on there, look. This has also got a bit of Simon silicone. I think I used something like Fernox or something. Something like for plumbing. On the join underneath the sink where it joins. Then also got my routed join. Look, not bad considering I'm not a carpenter. I had a big argument with a guy once. I was building play equipment and he's like, "You're not a carpenter, you ain't no carpenter, why are you calling yourself a carpenter?" Because I'm doing carpentry and building play equipment. Okay, so what I'm going to show is just what we do. But I am going to put some gloves on because you will need half a dozen pairs of cheap gloves because it is really skanky. Now, I'll do this once a year, no more than once a year. So you need an old t-shirt. This is my lithium ion t-shirt. So make sure it's all clean, get the dust off it. Oh, bugger. Right, and then you're literally just rubbing it in with the grain. So you just smooth it in with the grain. Okay, now this is just my first rub, so I'm just rubbing one out. So this is the first rub. Okay, and you can already see the amount of wear this has had. Okay, so I'm just rubbing one out, and this is your first rub. All right, so I'm just taking the excess off this edge and just rubbing it in backwards and forwards. All right, you're not really caring too much on your first one on how much you're putting on. Okay, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can see how pulled that is. And where this join is, you can see it's so thick. I literally just poured it on that join, even though that join has got glue and clamps underneath. Okay, and you can see the line there from the microwave. So that's quite an interesting thing. Maybe there's something with that. All right, so you're just going backwards and forwards. If you see a little piece that's sucking it more than the other, like obviously this part isn't going to suck as much as an open grain, then just give it an extra rub because it's going to pull on there. All right, so you're just going backwards and forwards. Now here, look, your grain's changed. So you're going to have to alter it a bit. But this is where it gets the most work. You can see how it's had the most work, and this is where you get the most places where it gets wiped, it gets used. And again, you can use a paintbrush, but I just find it's easier sometimes to squeeze a piece out the edge of the cloth. So obviously it's going to suck in more on the edges. Now if you're doing it in a cold place, I would get the hairdryer on and just give it a warm. So just give it a light warming before you put it on. And the good thing about this, because I've already used this when I first put it in, even though that's been sat on there for, what, 10 minutes, quarter of an hour? Do you see how you don't get the mark? So you'd expect there to be like a stain because it's already been on that piece for so long. And yet there's no stain, look. Possibly because it's the same one. I mean, obviously if this was the first coat, you need to be a little bit more regular with your strokes. Because you may get some stainage. But I mean, look at that. That's been on there for 20 odd minutes. And there's barely any. If you find, like here, look, it's soaked up all that. So just squeeze the oil out the edge of your cloth and just rub it on. Now, a little bit of safety hints, like with the linseed oil. I don't know if this will do it, but if this was a linseed oil, okay, this can actually catch fire. So your rags can catch fire. So don't put them in the bin and leave them because they'll catch fire. Take them out. I tend to put a match to this in me log burner. Well, not me log burner, me garden burner. And I'll just let that one burn away. But be careful putting linseed and oily rags into your bins, because some of them are known to, see, look at all the oil you've taken off with that. Okay, and I bought 2 tins, and I'm still on my first tin. And if you saw how much I put on this the first time, okay, so that's your first one, all right. So when you put it on like this, and you can literally see it, it's pooling everywhere. You're now going to get rid of this one and just put it somewhere where it's safe. I might actually just put it in the glove, so I can hold the camera and give you a little show. So we were quoted crazy money for worktops, and then they delivered the wrong worktop. So I said, look, don't worry about it, I'll do it myself. So I managed to find an 8-foot long table, pine table, 2 of them. So I found an 8-foot and I found a smaller one. And we, obviously there's a difference in the size. Yeah, don't hate me. And we also did the one here. And this one's got a lovely heart-shaped sort of knot sort of thing going on. Don't know if you can see it. Probably not, because there's stuff on it. Because I've moved everything. Right. So this one's got a lovely heart diamond type pointy bit that comes out, which is the other half to this. Okay, so this was another pine table that we got, and I think we did have to pay a lot of money and travel about an hour away to get this one, because it was the only 8-footer I could find. And when we got it, it was a mess. It was covered in paint. It was just a mess. So we sanded it down quite aggressively with a I think about an 80 grit I used. So I used about an 80 grit and then gradually got it down into the thousands, and then you got this lovely pattern on it. And then we oiled it, and then that was it. So it's now oiled. So what I'm going to do now, you leave it for like 5 minutes or so, hence having a little chat with you lot. I've then got a semi-dry rag. Let me get another glove. Like I said, you're going to get through the gloves, but you won't get through as many as what I do because I'm on the camera. So sorry Greta for killing the planet, just in order to show you stuff. Right, so this one is kind of like a semi-dry one. So this is the one that I used to do my mopping up last time on the other side when I rubbed one out up there. So you're just gonna soak up this excess, and you can almost feel it with the speed of the rag. Okay, so you're just gonna soak the excess up. Okay. And you can actually feel the thickness under the rag as it goes. And then bring it back. So it's obviously collecting all the excess. as you go. And I usually do this a couple of times just to, and I am putting a bit of force on that. Alright, so you can see how much is on there. So this will be like the first wipe. And again, because of the edge, I'm not too fussed because it will eventually go. But I mean, look at that, it's just mad. It's just mad. A few little drips down there. So again, first wipe, all the way around. You may get the odd drip. You may get the odd drip forming on the edge here. So just get your rag and mop it up. Okay, so again, you're just taking that first wipe. Oh. So I just thought I'd do a YouTube video for you all. See what you can do. I mean, we were getting prices of over £1,000 just for this piece of worktop. Just for the wood. So we paid 120 quid for the £120 for the wood. We paid 60 odd quid, no, what was it, 30 quid for the routing jig. I already had a router, so I didn't need to worry about that. And then that was it really, and then just hours of a bit of talent from me. So there's your first wipe. So you can see how much I've taken off the first wipe. Pop that one on the other one. So just get a bit more of your rag. There we go. There you go. So a bit more of your rag. And again, it's not really a difficult thing to do. It's just something that you need to do if you're going to be using your worktops. So I'll just leave this soak for a couple of hours now. Alright, before I put anything on it. And I tell you what, on this side we used you could get this plastic stuff off Amazon, and it's brilliant. I tell you what, it's really saved that wood under there, and it's just easy to wipe down. And we got the same on this side. So you got that lovely mark there. Look at that. So you got this lovely diamond sort of shape on there, and I tell you what, it's saved it. So, but here we haven't bothered, and you can see you've got the ring marks, which just I think adds to the character. This is a tin of syrup. It just adds to the character of it. So once you've done a couple of wipes, then you can do your final one, and that's pretty unsticky. There's a couple of little bits that I can still feel are sticky, so just give them a wipe in. And I mean, I wasn't shy on putting that stuff on. I mean, you saw how much was on this join. You can still see how much is here. And yet, give that a few hours and you'll be good to go to put your stuff back on there. So hope that one was informative for you all. If you've got natural wooden worktops, you've got to look after them. It's awful to see these lovely worktops and they've got awful stains on them, and where the sink is all around the edge, it's all gone mouldy because it's just the water egress. You've got to protect your wood. So I hope that's okay for you guys. Take care. See you later.